There we go. All right, everybody out there in YouTube land, y'all know how we do. We got to get everything set up for Facebook Live. Okay. Most of our viewers are on Facebook Live, so that's why we okay.
YouTube?
Yeah, that's YouTube out there. Go YouTube right here.
Oh, hey,
that's YouTube right. That's YouTube right there. Okay.
Yeah, I hear a little something going on.
Okay. Now we Facebook Live.
Do you think that you're dreaming? But did my wish come true? Can't hide these feelings, girl.
I'm gonna start this over. We're gonna start this over here.
Okay.
Reason being, privacy setting is still set to privacy.
We ain't gotta let it go too long either. Nah. We just preview on them.
Okay, there we go.
It ain't released yet.
Yeah.
So
yeah, now we live. Right?
Hey.
We live now.
All right.
We're gonna give them a little bit, man. Can we just, yeah.
Okay. So this is a new release.
Just a new release. We give them just a little bit.
We just give them a little preview.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna let it hit the finished lyric out on them and let it hit a little bit of chorus.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. They might can hear. Y'all hear us out there in Facebook land, YouTube. I know YouTube they hear us. You know what I'm saying? Okay.
So we get
Maybe like that.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna give them no more.
No,
give them a little bit more.
Ride them on out.
Ride him out. Give him a little bit more.
No, we can fade him out.
You gonna fade him out? Okay. All right.
Y'all be tuned in. It's coming soon. It's coming soon. We about maybe 2, 3, 4 more days, maybe at the most.
Okay.
And if y'all inbox me, first 25 people inbox me for.
Yeah, how many? That's on you.
First 25 inbox me with their email address. I'll send the song to you free. The song comes out probably in the next 4 days.
Okay.
But as a spot for Mr. Foe over here, my man.
Now, can I do my show, man?
Come on, man.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome here to the Ground 197. I'm your host, Bryan Foley. And I got my good friend, my brother, obviously, you can see Eddie Hughes in there. How y'all doing this morning? It's kind of sunny out there. It's a beautiful day going on out there. And I got, like I said, I got my brother, Eddie Hughes, in here. And I do mean that in the most honest, it's a long time. Here's my mama and stuff like that. You know, I went over there and hollered at moms. I don't know if Rini told you, I hollered at moms.
You know she tell me.
Yeah, I know she does. So I went over there and hollered over there. So I go over there and hollered at moms the other day, and she got to checking me. You know how she do. And she had me hemmed up in the pantry, right? And she got to checking me and everything. So I walked out the pantry. I told Rini, she ain't my real mom. I said real low too and stuff like that, man. All right. So good brother, what's the name of that? What's going on? First of all, what's the name of that song we were just listening to?
In My Fairy Tale.
Okay.
It's a fun song, man.
Okay.
I got, so caught up into trying to make a serious song and stuff. I said, well, let me just do something different and have some fun. And it's like an animated video.
I seen that. I got it right here. Yeah, I like it. It's good production too. Yeah, we was trying to put it up, but we got to change the format.
It's coming. It's coming.
Okay. All right.
But no, we had fun doing it. I worked pretty much by myself, me and my wife.
Hope did that.
She worked with me.
That's right. Hope do be on the camera.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we shot it, did it. I edited it, put it all together. It's fun video. Y'all should check it out.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'm looking for some stuff over here, find some music over here and everything. So Man, what's been going on for real, for real, for real? You know, let's start out with this right here, man. No, we got to pay respect. Our brother, Jamie Davis being laid to rest today. And so we'll be heading up there.
That's my brother.
Tarita said we can't hear. I don't know why you can't hear, Tarita. I'm looking at my levels.
I'm here.
And when I'm hearing and I'm seeing it, and we tested it out. If anybody else can't hear, please let us know. Maybe you got to talk into the microphone a little bit. How we doing now, Tarita? Can you hear us? 1, 2, let me know up in the comment bar. But like I said, our good brother, Jamie Davis, is being laid to rest, and we're gonna go up there and pay respect to Tracy, Cameron. We can hear you say can't hear you, Ed. Is your microphone on? Is it on?
Not unless you turned it off.
Is the light on?
I'm looking for.
Is the light on? Should be a little yellow light.
Well, you done got me up here with a dead battery.
Nah, ain't no dead battery. You gotta hold the button. Do I got you with a dead battery? There we go. You ain't there we go.
Oh man.
Okay, you didn't turn your mic on. He's a musician.
He said I didn't turn the mic on.
Yeah, I got to blame somebody. Yeah. Okay. Okay, right. Thank you, Tarita. Tarita out there, she getting that's one of your
much love for you, girl. You know you're one of my number one fans.
Yeah. So thank you, Tarita, for making us well. They said they can hear me, but they couldn't hear you and everything. Okay.
One evening, friend.
Okay. All right.
Here's your friendly announcer.
Well, that's Stevie Wonder.
I have serious news to pass on to everybody.
All right.
Microphone working.
Microphone working. Now we're here testing everything. We see. I told y'all if something go wrong and everything. You know what I'm saying? That's he giving a pound over there to our next guest. That's brother Averillo, Marshall Averillo, and everything. So man, what's going on, man? I know we coming out of the pandemic. And I know a lot of people don't want to perform professionally. Matter of fact, I seen you at Boneheads with Johnny a couple weeks ago, his birthday.
That
I seen him.
One of the first times I got out since the pandemic. And Johnny had called me. We got the same birthday almost. His is the 4th, mine the 5th. So he wanted to do a little celebration. He asked me to come over and join him. So yeah.
By the time I was with Johnny yesterday, because we're going out to Fort Lake Park. We moved the Johnny Lawrence Jazz Concert Series for Lake, and so we was out there last week surveying the land.
It's gonna be bigger.
It's gonna be bigger, man. I mean, and I'm not gonna get into that, but I was one of the last holdouts on the squad that wanted to hold it down Riverside Park. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I was working.
It was working down there. It really was, and we had a great time down there. However, we're moving out there, and we're moving out in the township. Thank you to those township officials who reached out to the team. But we surveyed the park, and man, let me tell you something. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be beautiful. I mean, a lot of people were saying, well, this, that, but because I was one of the last holdouts.
I'm still kind of skeptical.
But you wait till you see it.
I understand.
Wait till you see it. That's all we're going to say.
He ain't gonna hold us up.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, so, what you got up? You got anything planned and everything?
Yeah, it's this DJ.
Okay.
That's on WMZK 690 AM.
Okay.
Crystal Mail. And she's been promoting me and for some of my music and stuff. And she's talking about having Crystal and the Fellas.
Crystal and the Fellas.
Crystal and the Fellas.
All right.
And I am going to be the opening act for some of these older acts.
Right.
The Fantastic Four.
My boy.
Of course.
Yeah, exactly.
I got to.
Yeah, that's my homeboy. Our homeboy, Mr. Ray Ward.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Spider Turner.
Okay. Yeah. A lot of people ain't hip to Spider Turner, man.
Pretty nice.
Man. Yeah, he go way back.
I met him a couple times and did something with him, and he's nice.
Right.
And so it's gonna be an oldies but goodies thing.
Okay.
And private events though.
Yeah.
So that's what she's hosting.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to that.
Okay. All right. Where you got a location? Yeah.
Well, it's at private events.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Okay. All right.
We come to you your event.
Our event. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna have to. I think we're gonna have to make something happen here in the city of Ypsilanti. You know what I mean? And because people are starving for entertainment. Matter of fact, today I was supposed to be at the Park Ridge Summerfest committee meeting. But I wasn't able to make it. So we're looking, I haven't got my lineup all the way up. So maybe we can get some folks up there to I can line them up. I haven't obviously, you know, you're on the list, you get what I'm saying, right? You know. Yeah, that's obviously, yeah. But maybe we can get some of those artists and maybe see if we can get them to come out there and share some of their talents with the community, the Parkway Summer Fest.
I might be able to swing the band, you know, and have 2 or 3 of us up there, 2 or 3 different acts.
Yeah, well, that's what Spencer's trying to do. You know,
Okay.
Spencer's trying to do just what you're saying right there. It's Mr. Spencer Lewis, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about.
cool people.
Exactly right.
Not to cut you off.
Go ahead.
But I had to get something to Michael Lewis too, man.
Oh, without a doubt, man.
Yeah, Big Mike, man.
Yeah.
Big Mike got me on the road, y'all.
Yeah, he did. You know, when I was manager of the band, you know that video that I took of
I
Mike.
remember.
Yeah. Do you know that? Yeah, the casino, right? You know that thing is still circulating right now.
I know to go viral, man.
It's way up there. It's in the 10,000s right now.
Yeah.
And I sat behind the speaker with the video.
That was a good time, man.
Yeah, I know we had a real good time. We was traveling out there.
Greek Town,
right? Greek Town Casino. Yeah, we was playing every Friday night. See, a lot of y'all don't know. I do a little of everything. They don't even know half the stuff I be doing behind the scenes and stuff
we've
like that.
been doing this for so long,
right? Yeah.
God, how long I've been singing?
Oh man, UPS singing. He's called a UPS singing man. You know.
I remember I did the first show down at the Elks, and they was calling me Edward.
Yeah, I remember you. Did you have a? Is that how it came on?
Yeah.
Okay, right.
Freddie Jackson.
We're gonna leave that one alone. Okay. Well, I got you in here, brother. I'm gonna take up too much of your time because we got brother Averell up in here.
Right.
People need was going home.
Right, we give me 15 minutes.
Yeah. Well, you know, we started a little late, so we can do something. Hey man, you know, this is an election season.
Yeah.
And it's a midterm. And the midterm elections occur here in state of Michigan in August. Very unfortunately, a lot of people don't see the importance of voting in the midterm. You know what I mean? Should be aware. And in the middle of the summer, we have such a low voter turnout. So what we try to do with Ear to the Ground 197, along with the League of Women Voters and IPSI Cannot Share, we try to make people aware of the voting process and the importance of voting. So what we did was with IPSI Cannot Share, in collaboration with League of Women Voters, we could create these empowerment cards. Check these out right here, good brother. Yeah. And then what those is, if you notice, you got 4 of them, right? And the reason why it's 4 of them, because the Ypsilanti community consists of 4 different municipalities, right? Yeah, you see this, right? Let me blow this back up, okay? So what you got is the empowerment cards, and they're actually on here where it tells you who your elected officials are, okay? So the reason why you have 4 of them, you obviously have the city of Ypsilanti, Ypsilanti Township,
I'm looking,
Superior Township, and Pittsfield Township, Ypsilanti Township, City of Ypsilanti. I believe I got everybody. Superior, you get what I'm saying? Because a lot of people don't know where to vote and where they live when they say the City of Ypsilanti. A lot of people don't realize is that when you live in Ypsilanti, you may live in Pittsfield Township, Superior Township, or you know, one of the other townships. So what we did was we created this board right here. We got one of these at the Park Ridge Community Center, right? Sitting right where you come in to let the people who come to the community center where you vote at and who are your elected officials are. You know what I mean? We got a brother sitting over there. I think he's waiting over there to see if we can get, I don't think we have a place on there for I think we just had it on there for our state representative on there. But anyway, those are empowerment cards, and they're important in particular in this voting season. And I had Yusef Robbie on a couple weeks ago, and Yusef Robbie broke down to the lowest denominator the importance of us voting, because we as Black people are actually losing our right to vote. As crazy as that may sound, you get what I mean? When you start seeing the obstacles that they're putting forth and stuff like that.
It's insane.
It's insane, right? So it's very important that we vote. So I got you some empowerment cards.
I appreciate
get around and what have you, man. And like I said, we ain't gonna hold up too much of your time, but I just want to thank you for coming in and sharing your musical talents.
Oh, man. Hey,
and
let me just say this.
Go ahead, bro.
You know, it's like this. To everybody that's out there who know me and know of me, I'm just having fun, y'all. I'm doing the music because it's fun. I'm having a good time doing it. And pandemic really gave me a lot of time to hone in on some skills that I might not have ever got to.
Right.
But yeah, for everybody to know, I'm just having fun. I'm riding this ride. It's like a ball going downhill. As long as it's rolling, I'm gonna ride it, and we're gonna have fun. That's all it is. That's all it is.
You see me look at my phone over here?
Yeah, man.
Let me read y'all this text. You see me just look at it. You see it just came in. Check this out.
Yeah.
This from Mr. Johnny Lawrence.
Oh, okay.
He said, "Hi, I just heard back from Randy Scott. He's available to do your show June 25th at 11 o'clock. Text me the address so I can send him. It'll probably come down like I did with Yancey. I know I had Yancey on here 2 weeks. Now I got Randy Scott coming in here. Randy Scott, Grammy Award winner, brother. See, we don't be playing around here.
It's moving, folks.
It's moving, okay? Man. So with that being said and everything, you know, I'm going to let you leave us with the last word. If you have anything you want to share, stuff like that, before we bring a headliner on.
No, man, I just, to the family of the Davis family, you know, we go back, sending love, and I'm kind of feeling it here too. But I know this too shall pass. It'll never be forgotten. He will never be forgotten, and we will go on forward. We'll be in touch with you, and you got my love. Anytime you need it, anytime you need me there, just call me. And Ipsy,
and we can't forget about our other brother. That funeral was at so if y'all see me in anything like this, we Melvin Beagle Courage.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's laying him rest today too, you know. Cheryl Ventura says, hi classmate, Ypsilanti class of 80, keep up the good work. Class of 80 ain't got nothing to do with the class of 78 over here. Let me turn my music on. Power to the people, man.
Y'all know what's up.
Mr. Eddie Hughes, everybody. Right, okay, say, bro. All right. Get with you.
Power to the people, man. Yeah. All right. I think your show now, baby.
Yo, come on in. That was Eddie Hughes, everybody. You know, my motto, my theme song is all power to the people. Power to the people as we bring in good brother right here, Marshall Everett. You know, yeah, it's all right, my man. We got this. I gotta get them shock mounts, Eddie. You know. Yeah, you know, I gotta put them shock mounts on here and everything. Giving everybody a chance to go get a drink of water, sit down, some popcorn, a bag of chips, or what have you. You know that's Alicia singing, don't you? Yeah. Yeah, you didn't know that was Alicia? Yeah, that's Alicia. Alicia Reynolds. You don't know about the dramatics, and do you? Oh, he don't know about the dramatics, man. Yeah, you heard Key to the World? So I had a key to the world. And you sing it, don't you? All right. Okay, all right. Let me get back to all this. Welcome back, everybody. We took a slight pause for the cause. Eddie Hughes still in the studio with me today, my brother, and I do that in the most truest sense of that word. And we welcome y'all back this morning. Again, we took a little pause. I got this good brother right here. Never met him before.
This first time is a pleasure.
Yeah, his name is Marshall Averill.
Averill. There you go.
Averill.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Marshall Averill. Hey, God is good. Love you. Thank you, Mr. Foley, and all that you do. Team bless. Thank you, Cheryl, on that. So we got Marshall Averill. Before we do this, man, I got to pay the bills, right?
Yes,
Ear to the Ground 197 is brought to you by Tracy Sweet Touch Production. Uniquely created gifts for any occasion. You can find Tracy on YouTube, Passionately Intrigued Arts, Instagram at Tracy Sweet Touch Production, TikTok at Estella Fabulous, Pinterest, Miss Tracy E. Davis, email her at Dallas to Dakota, Dallas to Dakota. That's like the city Dallas and the number 2, Dakota, like North South Dakota. That's Dallas to Dakota at gmail.com. Then finally, you can find her at Tracy E. Davis. You know, I'm with you. So see you in a little while. All right. All right. Ear to the Ground is also brought to you by Blackstone Bookstore and Cultural Center, located in beautiful downtown Ypsilanti, right across the street from the public library. You know about Blackstone Bookstore, coach?
I'm actually stopping there on my way out of here.
Okay, you got to buy something when you go on there.
Okay. I already know what I'm picking.
You're right. Okay, all right. Blackstone Bookstore and Cultural Center is owned by Carlos Franklin and Andrea Franklin, Kip Johnson, and Athena Johnson. You've been on the stage, Eddie, with Athena a few times.
Yeah, we did a couple
shows together, right? Songbird. That's Blackstone Bookstore and Cultural Center, located in beautiful downtown Ypsilanti. Also, Ear to the Ground 197 is brought to you by Ish the Barber. Ish the Barber is located right across the street from City Hall on South Huron Street. That address is 12 South Huron. He'll get you together, believe me when I tell you that. Also, Ear to the Ground is brought by the owner of the barbershop there, cutting up, and that's my good friend, Mr. Andre Lewis. We call him Buzzy. They get you together. Andre also, he one of them folk on hustlers. He got the game on lock. The name of his company is called Awesome Awesome House Wash, where he power washes driveways, sidewalks, and patios. That's Andre, Awesome House Wash. Then finally, Ear to the Ground 197 is brought to you by Kiana Alexandria. Kiana is located right next door to Fuzzy and them in barbershop, right? She didn't want to keep my beard together. So if you see my beard out of place, it ain't because I didn't go see Q, it's because I've been trying to do it myself. So good brother, Q is the barber. Kiana Alexander, you got your beard and everything. Yes, trust me, she get you together. Y'all go see Kiana, located right across the street from City Hall on South Huron Street. I think we got everybody. Ear to the Ground 197 is obviously brought to you by Ipsy Can I Share. Those are the ones who put all our empowerment cards together. Keep me informed on what's going on politically. I got a team behind me that keep me square, and also League of Women Voters. That's Trudy and Jeff Hughes. Okay, I think we got the kids out of the street. Let's get to work, good brother. I got my mans right here. They always start out as my mans, Eddie. You get what I mean? So first of all, Marshall Averill.
Yes, sir.
All righty. I'm Bryan.
Nice to meet you, Bryan.
They call me Faux Dog. Eddie know all the nicknames. I got a whole bunch of names and stuff like that. Faux, whatever, right? So I'm Bryan Foley. Anyway, Marshall, I done a lot of talking, man. I'm ready to put you on Ear to the Ground so you can inform the people who he is, why you're here, and what you're trying to do with what you got. So what you here for, man? First of all, where you from, man? I never seen you before.
Sure.
Right?
So okay. I grew up in Toledo, Ohio.
Problem right there. Problem right there. Okay, go.
Those Ohio.
Give him a pass.
So I grew up in Toledo, Ohio. I moved here in 2009 when I started school at Eastern, and I had
moving up. You moving up? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay. So you moved here, and I didn't mean to stop your roll and everything like that. You get what I'm saying? So you went to Eastern, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Spent 5 years there, studied political science. Knew right away that I wanted to make a difference right in my community, and my time here in Ypsi was at that time very rewarding already, right? Even as a college student, I spent a year after I graduated with AmeriCorps doing direct service work in the community around financial stability, credit repair, first-time home buyers. That work grew. I spent another 3 years at United Way continuing that work. But again, I knew that I wanted to make a real impact in my community. I wanted to work with younger people. And so after 4 years at United Way, I made the decision to change organizations, and I work now at Washtenaw Community College, supporting a group of local scholarship recipients. So my life, my passion has been service to others, and this community has provided me with so many opportunities to feel fulfilled myself, that I feel so strongly that I have a duty to continue to give back to this community, and that's what I'm here trying to do today.
Okay, I like you, man. You're sounding good. You're sounding good, right? So you're running for office, obviously.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and that office is
state representative, 32nd district. That's Eastern Washtenaw County. Talking about Ypsi Township, little bit of Superior Township, and some of Pittsfield.
is 32nd district or the 54th district?
So it used to be the 54th district,
Okay.
but we had that redistricting process,
Okay.
which I'm actually kind of excited about that. I think they could have done a little bit more, but it gives us a chance to actually get some policy through the State House, which has not happened in the past. But used to be the 54th. Today it's the 32nd.
Okay. All right. Like I said, a lot of politics hasn't gotten to before, right? And we heard your passion for wanting to run for that. So what and you covered the areas and stuff like that. Now you're running up in a seat of somebody who's termed out, long time heavy hitter, career politician, Ronnie Peterson, right? And he's termed out, and some other folks in the race, Robin McCoy, who was Ronnie's legal assistant or legal aid or something like that. She's entered into the race, and you running against my man, Mr. Jimmy Wilson Jr. So you got the opportunity, man. And Jimmy know you coming on the show and everything like that. But that's who I'm endorsing as of right now. Okay, sure. I've been knowing Jimmy. I've seen the work Jimmy has done and what have you. So you're going up against my man, but I give everybody a shot at the champ. You get what I mean?
Sure.
Convince me. Yeah. Why I should vote for you as opposed to anybody else. Oh, there's another person in the race. I believe it's Roderick Casey. Can't forget about Roderick too.
There's a few of us. There's two more out there too. Isaac London and I believe Carol Smith. I want to make sure everybody gets their time. Right?
Please do. And let me share this with you. Isaac London, Carol Smith,
I believe,
and Roderick Casey. This forum is open to you to share your, get what I mean? That's what's ear to the ground, so everybody can know what's going on out here. Yeah. Okay. So, like I said, right now, Jimmy Wilson Jr., that's my guy, right? Sure. Share with me why I should vote for you opposed to any of the other candidates.
Sure.
Okay.
So here's the thing. I'll be honest. I don't want to talk about anyone in particular because I think that at the end of the day, there are some wonderful things being brought to the table, right?
Okay.
Why am I here?
Why you're here, right? That's what I'm saying.
Correct.
Right.
So I know that my community is a progressive community. We want real change.
When you say your community, can you narrow that down?
Ypsi, Washtenaw County, very broadly, but I spend my time serving the people of Ypsi.
Okay, all right, there we go. Okay.
This community, my community, is a progressive one. Yes. We want real change. And I know that that's true because when I look at who's being elected at a hyper local level to our city council, to our mayor's office, you see progressive candidates running and doing well and winning their elections. Historically, I have not seen a candidate from our community go to Lansing and fight for those progressive values.
Okay, I'm liking you. Come on.
Well, I mean, that's it, right? We can. There are a lot of different areas that we can talk about. We have a wonderful community college in our community, but yet there are people that grow up here that can't go there because they can't afford it.
They can't afford community college.
Yeah, right. Okay. And I think that there may be some issues around making sure that everybody knows the process so they can have access to the resources, but we shouldn't have barriers, right? We need to open those doors up. I think we need to make that community college free. Make them all free. Okay. We want to talk about police reform. Well, again, I don't want to name any names, but you can go look at the campaign finance reports and you can see where our politicians are getting their money from. And they're getting money from the police unions. How can you take money from the police unions and also force them to reform, right? And so that's why I'm here. I will not take any money from our police unions because I believe that they have some serious work to do. If we are going to create accountability and trust between us, the taxpayers, and our police forces who are supposed to protect us. And so that's why I say there are very simple steps like mandating that our police agencies release body camera footage within 21 days of any complaint. Okay. I would actually take that a step further and say that any officer found to have obstructed, turned off their camera, done anything to alter that footage before it's released, barred from testifying, we cannot trust you to provide us with an accurate account of what has happened. And you've shown that by altering your footage. And these are simple things that are happening in other states. There's a framework that we can use and we need to implement them if we are going to continue to move forward, right? I have not seen someone represent our community in Lansing and talk about these things. So that's why I'm here.
Okay, okay. I can't argue with that, Ed. He sounded good, man. He sounded real good. I can't argue with that. All right. So, what other policies could we expect for you to try to implement? And you said you stand for our community, you know,
Yes.
representing our community, what have you. And I liked how you framed it where you weren't anti-police. You get what I mean? Go ahead.
No, I'm not. I'm not, right? Because I have to live here too.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that there are things that happen that we need to be protected by or from, right? And there is a place in our community for law enforcement, but I do not think that we should be afraid of them. And our legislator has to take active steps to ensure that we can at least begin to rebuild that trust, right? Because right now, when I talk to my circle of people, there is not a whole lot of trust that the police force even has the ability to reform themselves, right? I mean, you see my shirt.
Black education plus lives plus voices matter.
Exactly,
Okay,
right?
All right.
And we've been saying this for how long now? And the administration, the leaders among law enforcement have not made changes that are adequate, at least not in my opinion. And so again, I think that our legislature has to take action. But I'm not anti-police because there does need to be public safety, right? And
yes.
That has to be provided for, but it has to be done in a way that is equitable for everyone and in a way that we, as the people paying for those services, can trust that it's being done in a manner that has our interests at heart.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So what did you take on, you know, we just recently had ARPA funding coming down and a lot of that funding is geared towards grassroots organizations actually involved in interrupting violence because those organizations actually know the community. And in most of the cases, they actually know the community better than the law enforcement agencies, right? So as a legislature, how would you try to, let's say, fund or try to unify and unite grassroots organizations who haven't traditionally been involved in interrupting the violence, so that they can work together? Do you see that as an effective tool?
Absolutely,
okay.
Right. So one of the first things that I did professionally at United Way was be a part of their grant process, right? And so I have an intimate knowledge of how funders are thinking about getting that money out into the community.
Okay.
My position always was we need to be looking at, as you said, the grassroots organizations, because these are the folks that are in the community doing the work, that know the people. But not only that, they're trying new things, right? We cannot keep trying the same old programs that are not getting us the results that we want. And when you look at those grassroots organizations, as you put it, they are the ones that are being ambitious. And so I think that there has to be a concerted effort to make sure that we are funding these agencies that are led by people of color, that are led by people who live in the community they serve, that are led by women. And not only do we have to make sure that we're funding them adequately, not partially,
right? Because
when someone asks for $200,000 and you give them $100,000 and you expect them to produce the results they said they will produce at $200,000, you've set them up to fail. So we have to fund them fully, and we need to provide them with the support, because what we're talking about are people that have been historically left out of the system, right? Have been historically marginalized and ignored. And because of that, there are sometimes pieces of the system that they just don't know about. So after funding them, alongside funding these agencies very intentionally, we need to provide ongoing support. We need to provide capacity building so that eventually these agencies can sort of join the mainstream, right, and be accessing funding from donors like our big, well-funded nonprofits are, but continue to do that work that is community focused, that is brought up out of the community.
Wow, thank you. That's very progressive, and it's good to hear a young brother like yourself speak on that. Now, when you say the community, right, that you want to represent, obviously is Ypsilanti, and I'm going to assume that we're speaking about Ypsilanti, and Eddie and I talked about this just a second ago. Ypsi consists of Ypsilanti Township, Pittsfield Township, Superior Township. That's the one I keep on missing, Superior Township, as well as the city of Ypsilanti.
Correct.
But the 32nd district is much larger than that. And I pride myself into knowing people of this community. And like I said, it's the first time I've seen you.
Sure.
And the first time I heard your name mentioned, obviously, is when it was announced that you're running for 32nd District State Representative. How are you going to get this message out to people who may not be watching this show?
Sure.
And I say this too, and also too, we're of a community where everybody knows everybody, right? And unfortunately, politics is almost like a beauty pageant, popularity contest.
Sure.
Yeah, you can be everywhere appearing that you're doing something, you get what I mean, but not getting anything done, right? And I like your message, but how are the people getting to know you? How can you build the people's trust?
Right.
And I know this is a large question, but generally, most people start at running at the city council level, trustee level, then maybe county commissioner, mayor, various other elected officials. But you jump right up at the brass ring, right? Yeah. State representative, right? Sure. So, and I'm not trying to. You look kind of younger than me. You get what I'm saying? I don't look like I'm old enough to be wild. I'm just saying like that, right? So, but you went straight for the brass ring, sure. Right? So what do people say that you don't have the political experience and the political connections and not knowing the community, being from another state, and all of a sudden here you are saying you want to run for state representative? Sure. I know that's kind of a loaded question.
There are a lot of things in there that I kind of want to talk about, right?
Right, and that's why I throw them all out there. So you pick them out of it.
I am from this community, right? I grew up in Toledo, but I have spent every day of my adult life in this community. Okay. I have worked many programs. I have volunteered at our middle schools with our young people, right? So I would not consider myself of any other community besides Ypsi. Okay. Because again, every day of my adult life has been right here. This is where my family is. This is where my life is. You talked a bit about experience. I'm not a politician. You are correct. I do not come in with a book of political connections. And that does make this process a bit more difficult for me, to your point about getting your name out there. I don't have the long list of friends that I can call on to help me push my message. But what I do have is a wealth of experience with nonprofit agencies on how they get the work done in the community. What I do have is an educational background that focuses on the construction of policy, on the implementation of policy, on being able to watch the conversation at a local, at a state, or a national level and decide this is the time when the iron is hot. So we strike and we implement this policy now, right? I come with an educational background that allows me to analyze the costs and the benefits of any policy that we can put forward from an economic standpoint, right? So when we start talking about things like a wealth tax, not only do I know in my heart as a regular person that's sitting here with you that we need support, in that there are people at the top that are vacuuming up wealth out of our communities. I can talk about that passionately, but I can also go and get on my computer and show you the reports that will, in my opinion, very strongly support the fact that these wealth tax cause no negative impacts to GDP. They do not hamper growth. They do not have any negative impacts on the markers that we typically look for economics, right? So while I'm not a politician, I have a wealth of experience that is directly related to all of the things that I want to do, right? And I think that's a benefit. Our politicians, as we have said, as well, I won't put words in your mouth, as I have said,
right,
have not brought about the progress that I think we need. In going through this process, I have had people that I respect a great deal tell me that change isn't possible, right?
mm-hmm.
And I do not believe that. But if we send politicians who have been ground down, right, who have been pushed and pushed on these issues and not been able to get things done to Lansing, that believe that real progress is not possible, then we're not going to get anywhere. So you're right, I'm not a politician, but I believe that my experiences and the lack of the fact that I am a politician allows me to come into this with a fresh face, right? With a mind that has not been hampered by people telling you that progress is not possible. It's not been pushed aside, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, one thing's for certain is that we do need change around here. We do need to be more progressive, in particularly the community racially classified as Black, right? And even though we do have Black elected officials, we have long-term, we got career politicians, right? But as long as many have been in office, you can look at our communities and see that even though they have been holding office, many of their policies have not been to uplift and better our community. So I can't disagree with you on that we do need to be more progressive and we new freshness around here. One thing I like about, and I hope I'm not placing labels on you, is I like the millennials, because you young folks are actually doing the work of what mine and Eddie's community should have been doing, and that was directly from out of the civil rights era where we were babies coming up. You know, Eddie and I were actually and I'm speaking for him, a couple of years older than him, but Martin Luther King, JFK, Malcolm X, RFK, those people were real people in our lives. Although we experienced them vicarious by television, we actually they were part of our upbringing. We didn't read about them in books. We actually seen them on TV. We seen the dogs biting on TV. So the work that our community was supposed to be doing, Eric says people get elected and then become co-opted due to a lack of backbone. My man, that's my man right here anyway. So, and you're right about that, Eric, he's correct about that. But however, I like the millennials because you guys, like I said, is doing the work of my generation, where we should have been carrying that mantle of the civil rights era on forward and continue to do the work. And what he just said is that many of our officials who got that baton handed off now were co-opted, right? And became part of just the status quo, to go along, get along game is what we're saying. So I do believe that has to be broken up. You get what I mean? And fresh ideals need to be coming in and doing things. One of the things that's on the manifest right now, and a lot of people don't really know about it or talk about as much. Eddie and I talked about it just a little before. I had Yusef Robbie on the show about a month ago, and he talked about changes at legislations about the ability and access to voting and voting rights. And right now, our voting rights are being deteriorating at the hands, particularly conservative right-wing GOP. Yes. Okay, so what are you doing, or what would you propose to do to ensure that we all maintain our voting rights? And if you are aware of that, you know.
Yeah. So the first thing I would like to start off by saying is that I believe with every fiber of my body that our right to vote is sacred, right? Yes. And should be protected as such. And so from a legislative standpoint, I would be in favor always of expanding that opportunity, making sure that our brothers and sisters that are incarcerated are allowed to vote, making sure that we have enough polling stations, that they are well staffed, right? That access to the ballot box has to be protected as the sacred right that it is. I would also point to our county and municipal clerks a few months back released an open letter that very clearly outlines the resources and the support that they need from our legislators in order to do their job. Because we have expanded our voting participation, right? Those numbers are up through things like no question mail-in ballot, no question mail-in voting, But as a result, our county clerks and our municipal clerks have to handle a far greater number of mail and absentee ballots,
True.
which caused some of the issues that we had in 2020, right? And so in addition to making sure that people have access to the ballot box, we have to make sure that our infrastructure, the administrators that allow our elections to function are resourced, right? Because again, like I talked about with funding grassroots organizations, it's not just about making sure that the opportunity is there. We have to provide the resources and the support, because if you don't provide the support, you're setting people up to fail.
Yes, you are.
So it's a two-pronged answer, I think.
Okay, all right. Set and make sure we have the resources out there in our county clerks and state clerks, city clerks have the resources, what's going on. So there, like I said, there's a lot of challenges that are coming down the pipeline right here. And I hate to bring, well, I'm not going to say it, I hate to do it, but it's something we have to address because it did occur, right? Ypsilanti Township recently, voter education is the key to voting rights, and everyone should play a role in properly educating the people. You're right, good brother. Okay, so Ypsilanti Township recently voted to open up a new gun range, recently voted to open up a gun store right on the other side of Interstate 94 where the McDonald's is, and the at McDonald's and BW3's area off of Whitaker Road and 994, right across the street from North Bay Park, to put it in there. Yeah. So there's a lot of mass homicides that has been taking place across the country, and I almost admitted the school shooting that took place in Oxford, because that happened just up the road from here, right? So we do have a Second Amendment right, right? So how do you feel about legislating? Let's start with what they call assault weapons, okay? Banning assault weapons, making access harder to doing better background checks on everything. Let me ask you just, what do you stand on those issues? What do you see? How would you interact with those people who say that you're impeding on their Second Amendment right by limiting access to guns, considering that's what's been taken across, happening across the landscape?
Yeah. So, man, those are every event that you referenced, either specifically or alluded to, are horrific, and it you may be able to see it, but it overwhelms me emotionally just to even think about. I am not anti-firearm. I'm not against the Second Amendment, but I far more than that am against seeing people cut down when they're trying to learn, when they're trying to shop for their groceries, or whatever they may be trying to do to live their life. So broadly speaking, we have to do something, right? I'm so sick and tired of hearing about thoughts and prayers, and this is not the time to politicize it, right? Because we're going to find ourselves in the same place. So I think that there are some specific steps we could take. You mentioned an assault weapons ban. If you look at the data, there is a date when that ban was lifted at a federal, was allowed to expire at a federal level, and mass homicides have spiked tremendously since then. The data supports that. So unless there is an argument that is logical, that is supported by data, that shows me something otherwise, then I am absolutely in support of that. You talked about background checks. Yes, absolutely. Did you know that the ATF has, to my knowledge, had an actual director for only 2 years since about 2000?
No, I didn't know that.
Right. And now, say what you want, but how can the federal agency in charge of managing our firearms do anything about it if they don't have an acting director? Now, that's not what I'm running for. But that says something about where we are as a country in dealing with this. So I think that our government has an absolute obligation to do that. Talking about background checks, yes, we need to do that, because again, we are seeing situations where people that should not have access to firearms get access to firearms and cause tremendous amounts of harm. waiting periods for handguns, right? Suicides are on the rise. Domestic violence is a problem that overwhelmingly impacts women. And yet we know that a handgun waiting period will provide a cooling off period for those visceral emotions that lead to horrifying events, and we can prevent those things. So do I understand the absolute need and the right to have a firearm? I do. I'm a Black man in America, right? But also, I'm an educator. My wife visits Oxford High School at least once a year to recruit their students to come to school at Easter.
Okay.
So these events are horrifying, and they have the potential to hit right here at home. And I do not want to be, whether as a community member or a legislator, the person on the news crying because my neighbor is gone. We have to do something.
We're getting close to hour, and I want you to be able to share some thoughts that you want my viewers to hear. But before we get out of this, one of the things that I've noticed is that many of these homicides, many of these mass murders, and we have a lot of shootings that take place in our community, right? And the first thing that people like to holler is that we talk about all these other shootings, but we don't talk about the shootings that take place in our community. We talk about when the white police officer kills the Black young man or what have you, but we're killing each other at a much high proportional rate, which we are. But however, what we're talking about is intra-cultural shootings, right? Where if you look at the demographics, you see that white folks kill each other at the same ratio. Koreans do, Native Americans, Chinese, Arabs, whatever demographic that is, they kill each other at the same ratio. However, in our community, our numbers are most higher than many other different graphics, and considering that we only represent 12 to 14% of the population, depending on who you're talking about. One thing about I am not an anti-guns person myself also. But one thing I do notice is that the majority of these guns that are involved in these mass homicides and shoot 'em ups are semi-automatic weapons, or weapons that have been converted over to high capacity, fast shooting, if you will, semi-automatics. Okay. But behind all of that, I know that a gun, it could sit on a table. It requires human interaction to get behind there and pull the trigger. I just last week, I believe it was the 22nd, I read a very disturbing news report where a young man in Detroit killed another African-American male, killed the mother of the child, and then killed the child and shot the child 11 times. We don't talk about those things. What I'm getting at is that behind these homicides, these mass homicides, even suicides, is a mental health issue. There's something has to be disturbed up into you that will make you go up and shoot up somebody's house from the outside, knowing that a grandmother's in there. We just recently had a shooting on Memorial Day, right? Where a girl from out of either South Florida, Detroit, or the guy from out of Detroit or Southfield was shot in the head right out here leaving Rolling Hills Park, right? So there's something not right emotionally and mentally. So what type of legislation would you advise or implement to address what mental health issues?
Mental health is such a big issue.
And let me say this, mental health and substance abuse cannot be separated because they're on the same thing. Go ahead, I'm gonna put that out.
So mental health is such a big issue that I could sit here all day and talk about it.
You got all day, brother.
There are a few things that I think are important to note. Right?
Okay.
First of all, we as a country, as a globe, have just gone through a pandemic, and whether or not you want to believe it, that is a traumatic event for all of us, right? And so we have to address that, along with many other forms of societal trauma. We have to make mental health available, and we have to make it available and accessible from a financial standpoint as well, right? I think our state could take an active role. I propose that our state enters the healthcare market and provides a public healthcare option. We don't need to be beholden to CEOs and stockholders. Our health should be beholden to us, the people that are using that healthcare, right? And the state entering the market and providing a public healthcare option can and absolutely should include good mental health care, right? And so that's a start of it. But there also has to be opportunity, right? We need to be making sure that our people have access to jobs that will pay them enough to take care of their families. There are things out there like United Way's Alice report that highlight the disparities between the poverty level and what a family actually needs to be able to make economic progress, right? We need to make sure that our families are not at poverty, that they're at a point where they can make economic progress. Because if you don't have hope for the future, your mental health will suffer. We need to make schools good, right? Whether we're talking about K through 12 or we're talking about higher education, it needs to be accessible, it needs to be well-funded, and there needs to be a focus on the students. I told you I volunteer at a school. You mentioned gun violence in our community, in our neighborhoods. One day that I will never forget, there was a young man who was just acting out of character. And the teacher was kind of hollering at him, which I understand. You know, I only come in for a couple hours at the end of the day, once a week, so I don't have the same stresses, the same interactions with the student. But I immediately could tell the student was out of character.
Okay.
When I get the chance to talk to him, you know what happens? He saw someone in his neighborhood get beat up, and it sounded like it was pretty violent. But whatever it was, to his young mind, it was traumatic. And no one asked him, how's your day going?
Right.
Why are you acting this way today? This is not normal. They just yelled at him and said he was bad. And so again, making sure that our education is well-funded, is accessible, and that there are mental health professionals in the schools, so that rather than criminalizing our young people, we are teaching them that they are valuable, that they have hope for the future, and we are teaching them how to regulate their emotions so that when something happens, you know, I need to take a couple breaths, I need to do a lap around the block, whatever I need to do to regulate myself so that this situation that is causing me stress does not evolve into something that can be catastrophic.
Well, that involves, and I like that, but that involves making sure that the teachers, and I was just in a discussion with some educators, I believe it was Thursday night, the teachers have to be able to understand that culture of what's going on, because most of our teachers out here are female white women. And even though they may be great at teaching math, science, reading, arithmetic, if they don't have any experience from the culture, then they're not able to recognize and understand that trauma. And like you say, and now that little Jimmy is just acting out and he's getting violent, and then he starts acting out on that violence toward the teacher. And the next thing what we do is we have the police come in, school resource officer, now he's in juvenile, now he's a part of the system, a part of the school to prison pipeline. Exactly. So what we have to have is teachers who understand the culture. So we talk about this word all the time, equity. And equity and equality are not synonymous with each other. Sometimes I look at the word equity be synonymous with justice. And if you really look at the word justice, there is really no legal definition of the word justice. It's one of those ambiguous terms. But my definition of the word justice, I got from Dr. John Henry Clark. And what he says was equity and justice is that people who need help the most should get the most help. And without a doubt, because of our history in this country, right, that we don't receive the same resources and we don't have the same opportunities. Even today, even though the laws had changed, the people who are descendants of those people are in position of making the laws and implementing justice, right? So when we start talking about equity, how can we, okay, I'm reading some stuff like here. All right. Yeah, I caught that, Eric, when he said he felt as though he was going to, he says this 5-year-old, that siren that you hear out there is just what the siren's going on, right? And you're right, Eric, and what he felt as though who shot the 5-year-old, he thought this 5-year-old was going to snitch on him for killing his mother and his mother's boyfriend. So he shot this 5-year-old 11 times. You're right about that, Eric. So, well, when we start talking about equity, people who need the help the most should get the most help, and that's people racially classified as Black. How could you implement programs and legislation to ensure that the least among us, you get what I'm saying, get more? Because I'm a firm believer that when you elevate the least among you, they will get better. And not only will they get better, the rest of the people amongst us, they will get better also too. And the first thing that people like to say is that if we want to get these Black people this, and we want to give this, right, then all of a sudden now you're acting as a racist. But nobody has no problem with legislation that was just recently passed when I believe the Asians were violated in some way. Immediately, Asian hate laws were passed. LGBTQ community laws passed like that immediately. But when we come to Blacks, it seems like nobody wants to make sure that the least among us are brought up, you get what I mean, to a level playing field, you know? So that is where my interests are, is making sure that my community, people who need the most help people who need help the most should get the most help. How could you, as my state representative, come to legislation and say, hey, folks on the south side of Ypsilanti, folks in Sugarbrooke, folks in West Willow, folks out in Green, right? And all those neighborhoods, they need resources.
Yeah.
Could you go as my legislator and say, hey, I'm coming for these folks?
Yeah. So you mentioned earlier that you don't know me, right?
Right, exactly.
This is the first time we met. I have a personality that does not take no.
Okay.
I fight tenaciously for whoever it is that I am advocating for, be that my neighbor, be that my financial coaching clients, be that my students, right? They deserve access to absolutely every support that there is. There are a lot of ways that we can do exactly what you just said. I think our politicians need to get out of the way. I just remember where I was going with that.
Take your time.
We never met. That's because I'm not loud. I do the work and I go home to my wife and I lay down in my bed because I work very hard every day. The work that I did at United Way was recognized by the same state legislator that I'm trying to join. I have a piece of paper in my office signed by Ronnie Peterson saying that my work was valuable to our community. So I know how important it is that we are making sure that the solutions come up from the bottom. And as a legislator, that's what I would do. As I said earlier, making sure that when we are talking about how we spend that ARPA money coming from the federal government, that it's going towards agencies that are led by people of color, that are led by women, that are led by people who live in the neighborhoods that they are serving and supporting. Our politicians need to get out of the way.
Come on, man.
I'm not for the glory. That's why you don't know me.
Right.
I believe that the people know what they need and will tell you. You listen and you do it for them. That is how I think we can ensure that we achieve equity, by being very intentional and where we're sending this financial support from the state, and making sure that these agencies and these organizations and these people have the systemic support that they need. It's a slow process. I would be naive to suggest anything other, but by making, again, these very intentional investments in federal and state dollars, we can lift up the people that are doing the work. Our politicians just have to be willing to get out of the way. This should not be a space for personal glory. This should be a space for personal sacrifice, I believe.
Eddie sounded real good over there, Eddie. I'm listening too. You know, as you said, if you heard me state, Jimmy Wilson is who I endorse.
Sure.
But however, I'm not a go along, get along person. And my vote, I got the right to change anytime I feel like it. You get what I'm saying?
It's a sacred right.
You know, it's a sacred right. You know what I mean? Just because you going that way, I ain't got to go that way. But I'm simply saying that's the guy who I'm endorsing. I wish you well in this election. But however, as being an elder, I encourage you to keep that fire, man, in whatever venue you choose is go. In case you don't win, you get what I mean? I encourage you not to get discouraged, and also to know that you got a body of people behind you supporting those ideals that you just got, whether you're doing them up in Lansing, whether you're doing them on the county level, city, township level, whatever. And it's real good to hear refreshing voices yourself behind that. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
And I'm one of the persons I can actually say, we got elected officials out here ain't worth a damn.
Those are your words, not mine.
I say it, and I say it all the time. And the only reason why they still in there because they part of the go along, get along game, part of the Negro status quo. And they got the game on lock. Yeah. You feel what I'm saying? Because they don't do their homework and see what's going on. They get the same old puppy dog face when they return back from their governing body, say, these white folks won't do this white folks ain't do that. Did you go ask the white folks for anything? Number one, in our name, or did you just go up there and ask for some legislation for the entire community and then come back and say, look at what I have done? You know what I mean? Grandstanding, like you said, self-serving. But anyway, I encourage you to continue on what you're doing and what have you. And you have my support and endorsement in whatever working you do. I'm endorsing and supporting Jimmy Wilson Jr. Feel what I'm saying? But I love to see young minds like that, you know, and being able to articulate your thoughts and have that drive to do that. But before we get out of here, like I said, I was the one doing a lot of the questions and stuff like that. What would you like our listeners to know before we sign off the air, and our viewers, excuse me, off the air from Marshall Halfrail?
So I don't have a lot. I want to say thank you for the work that you're doing, not just here, but the work that you're doing in the community. I see it and I respect it. It's an inspiration. I also want to thank anyone who took the time to listen, not only to me, but to listen to anyone who's running for office. This is my first time doing this. This is by far the toughest thing I've ever done. So I also want to say, send my respects to anyone who is running for public office, whether you are running in the same race as me or not. It does not change my feelings. I have a lot of respect for you. If you would like to learn more about what's important to me, you can visit my website. It's www.avrilforall.com.
Say that again slow for my
www.avrilforall.com.
Okay.
Spelled all the way out, no numbers. I'll also be doing a candidate forum on Monday evening with the League of Women Voters, so you can see me there. And of course, I will be out in the community. It's not hard to get in contact with me if you would like to do so. So please, if you have some thoughts, some feelings, anything that you are particularly passionate about that you don't hear me talking about, I want to hear about those things. I do not believe that I know everything. I know that I don't know everything. And so I'm always willing to hear from anyone who has an opinion, because I want to know and I want to grow. Thank you for your time.
And thank you. And we want to welcome you we want to thank you, excuse me, slow down a little bit, for taking time on this Saturday morning and being on Ear to the Ground 197. This platform is open to you anytime. What I mean by that, just contact me and say, hey man, I need to get some message, some information out. I'm looking forward to working with you in this community. Like I said, I wish you well on that level.
Thank you.
I sincerely wish that. But however, what I see, Eddie, I see a young mind. You get what I mean? That's very intelligent, very knowledgeable, and I can see the drive in there. And so we as elders, we need to be unselfish and allow you to do the work in the community instead of getting in your way, blocking the doors and stuff like that. We need to take our rightful place in the community, and that's to sit back as elders and be advisors and counselors and having an open mind and to listen to you. I like what you shared today. I just wish you well, good brother.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
I appreciate you very much.
Yeah. So Ear to the Ground 197 can be heard here and seen on Facebook. Oh, I know what this is. Well, I got you a
t-shirt so you can represent if you want. I know you want to take the person, but
Jimmy,
what would I be doing if I didn't shoot my shot? You know what I'm saying?
Jimmy, the brother brought me a t-shirt, and Yeah, hey, might need a hat though, man. I'm gonna have to wear Jimmy Wilson hat and wear a real t-shirt. You know what I mean? It's kind of like wearing Nike and Adidas, but might have to do that. You know what I mean? It's my vote. But anyway, we want to thank you for like I said, coming here and just doubling down on it. The platform is open. I'm looking forward to see you out here in these streets, man. We need you, man. We really need you,
I'm just
right?
Trying to work and do the best thing I can.
Okay.
That's all I know how to do.
Working, yeah. So like I said, Ear to the Ground 197 can be seen on YouTube Live. It's kind of a little different on YouTube. You get what I'm saying? That's for folks they don't want to come on Facebook. But we can find on Facebook Live every Saturday morning at 11 o'clock. I got a good show coming up next week, Eddie. You know, I got some ladies coming in here from Our Community Reads. I got a good guy coming in here, Dave Strinsky, talking about solar panels and stuff like that. That's next week. And we got on here. Ed, you might have to come hang out with me a little bit more, man. Since you retired and everything, you just come out here and sit down. And you might have to come sit down, and we might have to chop it up just like what we did before. We got a lot to talk about. We might have to see if we can do that, right? So with that. Yeah, if all hearts and minds, you good, brother?
I'm good.
I want to thank you for coming on out.
Okay. I say what I need to say.
Yeah, okay, all right then. But I'm saying that was Marshall Averill running for 37th District State of Michigan representative. And with that, we see you next week. As I always say, power to the people, all power to the people. I appreciate you. Thank you. We really appreciate you.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Let me turn this mic down. Make sure this one's muted.